I have a question.
Okay, go.
Moderator.
Shoot.
Who do you think is the most important person to have a relationship at your school?
Ooh,
That's a good question.
See, I wouldn't have come up with that question because I don't know it.
Yeah.
When I first got to Japan, I thought I needed to be closest with my English teacher, whoever that may have been, and my principal. What I've come to realize, that is not the case. For my principal, he had other things to worry about. He was there for me, for my school. He was really nice. I liked him a lot, actually. And he did keep up with me, like, every now and then. He would, like, sit down with me. Like, he was, like, asking about my life in Japan in general. I was like, are you adjusting well? Are you doing okay? And I'm like, yes, I'm doing okay, and things like that. He's like, okay, how do you like the kids? And, like, how is your relationship with the teachers and that? And I'm like, yeah, it's doing good. And he did offer, like, if you have any trouble, like, just tell me, kind of thing. What I've come to learn, though, is that people don't go over people's heads.
Yeah.
There's an unsaid hierarchy that you have to go through, which I was lucky enough in my situation that I never had to go over anybody because I had good relationships with everybody. But I mean, going back to who's having, like, the most important relationship in your school. I liked having a relationship with my principal, but he wasn't necessarily the person that I needed to cultivate an important relationship with him. He was there for really ceremonial purposes, meaning that when I came into the school, there was a morning assembly, and he introduced me like, we have a new English teacher. Let's welcome her. Let's welcome her from America, Lexy. And it's like, hi, it's me. And then when I left, he's like, well, then it's been 3 long years, hasn't it? Let's all thank Lexy from America and have her and wish her, like, a safe trip back home. And no, that was like in my 3 years there, that was only like 2 instances that I really had a connection with him, because he has so many other responsibilities other than that, right? For me, yeah, having a good relationship with my teachers in general was really important, but I think for the most part, what I've come to appreciate at the end of my time there, my most important relationship was with my secretary, was with the school secretary.
She keeps the school running.
Like, you thought principal and vice principal keep stuff running? Nah.
Without that in between.
Without the secretary, yeah.
Because they know everything.
The secretary knows everything.
Yeah.
Or the tea lady, whoever that is.
So this
the
is
tea lady.
the Jimino sensei.
Jimino sensei.
And, like, they're secretary, but, like, they're more than
They're
that.
so much more than that.
So much more, because they are, like, the chain.
They are the glue that keeps this place running.
Yeah. It is amazing how much, like, how much responsibility they have.
So you gotta be, like, cultivating that relationship with them.
She handles your payment as well.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
For my school, she did. For my city, she handles all in the school. She handles all of these teachers' payments.
Yeah,
she passes it out. She receives it and passes it out. So
takes care of the budget.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Oh, you guys got paid in cash?
No. It was
direct deposit.
Mine was like a direct deposit, but they gave us like a receipt. We had to, and basically you had to sign it or hanko it to, like, as recognition. Like, yes, I acknowledge that I received this payment. Thank you, kind of thing.
I thought it was like, here's your cash money.
Oh no! Thank God. No, I would not have. I'm not responsible enough to have that.
I guess for me, I think for me it was like all the homeroom teachers.
Homeroom teachers, yeah.
Yeah. Just because you spend a lot of the time being with their kids. And so, like, if you had, like, a question about a certain kid, like, oh, why is he like that? Like, the teachers are the ones that know what's going on, because they're essentially, like, the second parents of the kids. Like, sometimes they're kind of like the main parent, because that's what they kind of are in Japan. They know a whole lot about their life, and so, yeah, I think the relationships with the homeroom teachers are best. I was closest, like, it just so happened that at the end of it all, the closest teacher friend I had was also the main English teacher from my second year, so it just worked out. that she was my friend also.
Yeah.
So.
Do you guys talk to each other in English?
No.
No.
She's so shy.
Oh.
She'll like say random like words, but she gets really shy, and I'm like, and there's no going back. We can't speak English to each other. Yeah, because like she wants to practice it, but she knows I speak Japanese, so it doesn't work. I think she has more practice now with than my successor.
My closest teacher friend wasn't a homeroom English teacher or anything, but she was someone who was the same age as me, or like a year older than me or anything. So we were close in age, so that's what we connected over. But also she wanted to learn English, so that's why she's like, Lexy, I want to practice English. I'm like, I want to practice Japanese. This is great. This is perfect. Let's just do this. And it worked out that like we had similar interests and we were the same age. We were also, it was just like good. So, and she would make the effort to like contact me outside of work too. But like for my main English teacher, he was really nice. I liked him. He was the one that like sat next to me for 3 years, or like sat next to me for like a whole year, and I didn't know he had an English license. He was really nice. He was older, a little bit older. He was a new father and stuff. And like he was one of those very like soft-spoken guys too, like very serious in his work, and everyone liked him. But it's like if he didn't have to talk, he wouldn't. And he was fine. He very much reminded me of Takahiro, Hirotaka from Watakoi. Yeah. So like he's very just, like really kakui silent type, cool silent type.
Okay.
And he was really excellent with his work. But I knew him for the whole 3 years. He didn't transfer out, and I always wanted to get to know him more. But it was just hard to. I mean, I would ask him like. Actually, I do have one really good memory about him, and it was I found out my 3rd year. I was like, I got up the courage. I was like, Sensei, what foods don't you like? Just like to know him more. Yeah. And he's just like, he looked at me with a straight face, no smiling. He's like, I don't like avocados. No, and you know, that's fine. No, it's fine. I'm like, okay, avocado. I was like, oh, why not? I think they're delicious. And my other sensei, who was like right there, she was like this really perky and like Genki teacher. Oh, I loved her so much. She was like, oh, huh? Are you crazy? Like, this is all in Japanese. And he's like, avocados. He's like, and he looked at me so serious. He's like, I'm like, why not, sensei? He's like, avocado, a fruit, vegetables. I don't get it. He said that in English. But he said that in English, and then he said it in Japanese. And then the other sensei, the girl sensei, she's like, eh, do you eat me? And he's like, oh, でもアボカドはなんか果物野菜わかんないそれはわかんない And it was like a direct translation. He literally said that verbatim, and I'm like, and I captivated right there. I'm like, this is the best memory I remember. I'm never gonna have about the sensei. And I'm like, you know what, sensei? I learned a little bit about you today, and I'm gonna just take this and treasure it.
Get a bit of like how he thinks. It's
yeah.
so funny.
It was
hilarious.
No, but because he spoke not perfect English, but he spoke English better than most people. He just never applied it. Yeah. So this is the first time I heard him like speak English to me without hesitation. And he just went, avocado. I'm like, why? Is it a fruit? Is it a vegetable? I don't get it. I loved it. I
would have cracked up about
it. Oh, I did. Oh, I absolutely did. Oh, it was the best. That was the best thing I've ever heard from him. But yeah, for me, the secretary, because she also knew the situation of my program and things outside of school. So like for me to, so like when contracts came, so she wasn't my manager. My manager for the program was someone at City Hall. And of course he's at City Hall, he's not at my school. So he can't vouch for like, oh, are you having a good school life or whatever? So he would ask the secretaries like, hey, how's Lexy doing and things like that. So she would give him the 401 like, hey, because she also is obviously a Japanese person, so she can like get the gossip from everybody's like, hey, how is she doing? And like, how is so and so sensei and how so. So she was the brains of this whole operation, if anything.
Yeah, like there's knowing the teachers and then knowing like, was it the faculty, which is essentially there's like Secretary, lunch
lady.
Nutritionist.
Nutritionist, I'm sorry. Yes.
Nutritionist.
Not lunch lady. They're not lunch ladies.
They
They're
do so much more.
Oh, they have license. They went to school.
Yeah,
They're nutritionists.
they know
They're
their shit.
dietitians.
They kept me from dying. Okay.
They sure did.
Nutritionist, the groundskeepers, and the nurse. And
the nurse. Yes.
That's the group that knows the tea.
They know the tea.
Oh.
They got the goss.
And so you want to get to know them, but you want to be aware of them.
Yeah, because they can make or break your career. No, but in all honesty, they would know what's happening.
I guess this is also in the stereotype of they're kind of like older, like middle-aged ladies, and that's usually the case.
Actually, my secretary in the office, there was 2 ladies. There was one, the senior one, who was the older one, and she knew everything, and there was the other one who was like, she was my age, and I'm like, oh, what's up? And she was explaining to me, she's like, yeah, I graduated and I didn't know what to do. So, and I saw there was a position for this, so I just came and did. She was there for administrative work, which is very doable. So she was doing that, and she knew how to speak English too. And I'm like, what the heck? Her TOEIC score was like, what is it out of like 800? She got like a 750 or something. So I'm just like,
what are you doing?
No, and I'm just like, what are you doing here? You can be someone. You can do stuff. And she's like, oh, she was just doing there for a couple years, and I think she was gonna go back to school, doing like graduate school, doing something else. But I mean, yeah, they know the goss.
Yeah. So if you want to know like what's up, it's usually the faculty, because they're usually in there the longest.
Right.
And they see like who goes in and out. Here's more things.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. At the end of the day, when I'm about to like go out, and I would say like, like I'm going after it. It's like, good work, everyone. I would stop by the office, the school's office. That's what they call it. And I'd be like, hey, I'm going home. And they're like, I would chat with them for like 10 minutes because they're like, oh, what are you gonna do today, like after school? And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go home. Like, what are you doing?
Relax.
I'm gonna like
play games.
Well, yeah, I didn't say. I was like, oh, I would usually say something like, oh, like, I'm gonna go to the grocery store. I'm like, I'm gonna cook tonight or whatever. All the while, I'm gonna go to the grocery store at like 8 o'clock to get that 30% off bento. It was great.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just good to get to know people in like even just basic levels.
Yeah.
I think in general, just be nice to everybody. Just
don't ignore them. If you think your teachers don't care about you, it's not the case. I would argue that like teachers in Japan just, I don't know, maybe because like growing up here in America and looking at my teachers stuff, I'm sure they work just as hard as Japanese teachers, but like Japanese teachers would stay at their school till like 7:30 at night.
I passed my school at like midnight, and the lights are still on. I still see like my VP's like car still there.
Yeah. The VP and like the principal are usually the ones that stay there like the longest, doing admin work and like other things and such. But like teachers, homeroom teachers, they're grading, and I'm like, dude, take that home.
Yeah.
And I actually asked them one time, I was like, why don't you take this stuff home? Because in America, teachers would take this stuff home because they have home lives too. They're like, no, that's just not the way. That's the excuse I got. They're like, that's not the way we do things. I'm like,
mine is like they can't focus at work, and it's all in like the computer now, but they can't take home the computer. Because the cloud system is only at school. Which makes
zero sense because the cloud is supposed to be like everywhere.
Yeah. That doesn't.
Hence cloud, but like I don't know. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
And
wow.
Trust me, the teachers don't get it either.
They don't. Yeah.
Like,
so I mean,
it's not just them.
They're not there on their own volition. Let's just say that.
Yeah. So.
Any other questions, Mark?
It's a lot.
That was a question you asked.
I asked it because I thought you would want to ask that, but then.
No, well,
I'm asking questions that you would want to ask.
That was a question that I couldn't have come up with because I haven't had the experience. So